The United States is the richest country on earth. We hear this shit all the time. But you know what? We need to stop saying that because it's not really true. What the United States has is a handful of people who own more fucking wealth than the rest of all of the other citizens. And then we have a little bit larger group that's doing okay for itself. But the majority of people in this country are not the richest people on earth.
I'm angry. And why am I angry? United States might have been this innovative and prosperous country 30, 40 years ago. We were the place to be. If you were somebody living in another country, America is where you wanted to be. Look at China today. Look at them. You see how innovative China is on these TikTok videos? That should be America. That should be us. But our leaders gave it away. A long time ago, they gave it away. It's over. America is never going to be the same again. Our politicians, our leaders sold us out a long time ago. And look what China's been doing. I can't be mad at China for doing that. It makes me sad because 30 years ago, I thought America was the greatest place on earth. Everybody wanted to be in America. And now it's just depression. We should be the top leader in the world in innovation, and we're not anymore. We gave it away. Our leaders gave it away. It's hard to get a house now. It's hard to feed your family. It's hard to do anything anymore. I wish we could rewind the clock, but we can't. It's done. America is not the same anymore. And unfortunately, I don't think it ever will be again. I look at today versus when I was a child. When I was a kid, everybody was happy. Everybody got along with each other. Prices were sort of reasonable. But you fast forward to today, our infrastructure is failing. Businesses are closing. America is turning into a third world country before our eyes. And it hurts to see that because I grew up in the late 80s to 90s, and I seen what America was before it started falling off a cliff. And it's sad to watch. It's really sad. Why did our politicians sell us out? Why did our leaders sell us out and we just sat there and did nothing? It's sad. America will never be America again.
The majority of the people in the United States can't get a living wage, can't get health care, can't even afford groceries anymore because it's getting so ridiculously expensive for everyone and for every fucking thing. We need to stop telling the world this big fat lie that the United States is the richest country on earth, because it's not. Just a handful of people are. The top 1%, the elite, sitting up there in their fucking ivory tower, extrapolating all of the wealth that they possibly can get and leaving the rest of us with nothing. That's what we are. Until this government decides that the people come first, before the fucking billionaires, before the corporations, that's just a fucking lie and a facade, and we like to say it because it makes us feel good. But the reality is, it's not that way at all. 60% of Americans, over 60% actually, live paycheck to paycheck. And now we have people who are funding their grocery bill on credit card debt and payday fucking loans. That's not being a success. That's not winning, MAGA. That's not helping the average American citizen.
Hi, my name is Cassidy Cook, and I'm sorry if I scared you, but I've been crying for the past 2 hours. Corporate America is stealing my soul. And I have been for the last year in an environment that is cruel and manipulative, and I can't do it anymore.
Your problems are not my responsibility. If you want free healthcare, then maybe try working instead of whining on TikTok about capitalism. My husband and I bust our butts every week and we pay our taxes, and somehow we're the bad guys because we don't want to bankroll everyone else's bad decisions. Like, sorry, but I made poor life choices doesn't count as a disability. And I'm over arguing with people who say that healthcare is a human right, but the right to life isn't.
Finally, somebody who can understand economics. Healthcare isn't a right and your problem are my responsibility. That's the freedom. Let's start with the most glaring myth here, that this is about hard workers versus lazy people wanting handouts. This is the story that the system wants you to believe. A car accident is not a bad life choice. A cancer diagnosis is not a bad decision. A genetic condition is not a lack of hard work. In America, you are one single medical emergency away from being the very person you're looking down on, no matter how hard you work. And you're right about one thing. We should be angry about where our paychecks are going. You're just aiming your anger at the wrong direction. You're worried about your neighbor getting their insulin covered, while our government, the one that we both pay taxes to, spent hundreds of billions on bloated military budget and foreign aid packages, then tells us that we can't afford to keep our own citizens alive. You want to talk about economic literacy? The United States spend more money per person on healthcare than any other developed country on the planet. Yet, we have worse health outcomes and millions of people who are uninsured. We are all being systematically fleeced by a fucking for-profit system. This isn't about lazy people wanting your money. This is about all of us, the hardworking people, demanding that the taxes what we already pay towards protecting our own families instead of just paddling the profit of fucking insurance and pharmaceutical giants. If you like my video, make sure you hit like and follow. Make sure to check out the link in my bio. You see, guys, she works hard, pays her taxes, yet she's the bad guy for not bankrolling everyone's bad decisions. People should get jobs instead of whining on TikTok. I agree with her. Ignore those libs who say, but what about the cancer patient? Well, patriots, my gut says if you didn't want cancer, you should have worked harder for better insurance. I got sick twice and I blame myself. Both times. See, that's personal responsibility. Medical bankruptcy is the leading cause of bankruptcy? That just means we have the freedom to fail. That's capitalism, baby. We pay more for healthcare than other countries with universal coverage and get worse outcomes. But you know what? They're socialists. When your neighbor can't afford insulin, the enemy isn't the company that's charging you 1,000% markup. It's your neighbor. We need that poor neighbor to move out of here. If you want more hard truth like this, hit that like button. It's your patriotic duty. Follow me everywhere else, patriots. Link in bio.
If you've ever felt trapped in a place that no longer feels safe, you are not alone. The system knows that freedom costs money. That's why most people will never make it past the paperwork. Leaving the United States isn't easy. It's expensive, strategic, and intentionally difficult. After paying for a passport and all of the document prep, translations, copies, etc., you still have flights, check bags, overweight fees, visa and residency applications, and then if you're relocating with pets, then you have pet fees, vaccines, certs, microchips, crates, customs fees, and of course, health insurance abroad, finding a job, maintaining a job, and being able to cover your bills overseas as well as your US taxes. And obviously some sort of emergency fund. Those things add up very, very quickly. So the total realistic price range would be anywhere between $7,000 and $15,000, not including pets. With pets, you can expect to add on an additional $2,000 to $4,000. So most people can't just pack up and go, even if they want to, because the system makes it expensive on purpose. But if you can't leave today, you can still prepare. So, relocation by Rebel Roots. The vision was big and the work was deeply needed. As a one-person operation, finding and paying reliable staff was not sustainable long-term. Rather than stretch thin or compromise quality, I chose to close that chapter with integrity. Relocation by Rebel Roots has officially been dissolved. People loved the free resources and I'm very grateful for that. But the truth is, free resources will never get you out of the US. It takes money, time, and people to compile, verify, and maintain the kind of information that actually gets results. A lot of people never make it past the paperwork because of money. and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you otherwise. So we're closing this chapter with genuine gratitude, not failure. The mission stays the same: awareness, preparation, and real world freedom, no matter where you are. So my new focus, which I've already started to dive into, will be safety. I've been trained on it extensively and expertly in the field, and I'd be more than happy to continue to share it with all of you. Because if the majority of the people that want to leave are actually going to end up being stuck in the US, the least that I can do is help them stay aware, alert, and prepared. So here's some things that you can do right now, even if you're staying. Keep your IDs and documents backed up digitally. Not backed up on your phone, backed up off-site in a place where you can get to them if everything else crashes. Build a small emergency fund and a separate bank from the bank that you regularly use if you use one, or some kind of prepaid card. Learn digital privacy basics, secure messaging, learn how to use a VPN, and live with two-factor authentication. Start decluttering and minimizing your debt. Being mobile starts with being flexible. And most importantly, don't announce every move online. Move quietly, safely, and intentionally. Different lane, same mission. Survival, strategy, self-reliance. I love you guys. Stay rooted, stay rebellious, and stay lethal.
So many Americans are moving abroad right now. It's actually causing the process of moving to another country as an American to become way harder. Getting an appointment to get a visa to move to another country, 10 years ago, you could find an appointment a week out, easy. Now, the visa offices and the consulates are just slammed because so many people are wanting to move. You'd be lucky if you find one before 3 months. Bank accounts. Opening a bank account in a foreign country as an American is difficult, which in the past, most banks were more than willing to do. But now that there's so many Americans wanting to move to these foreign countries, it's becoming such an intolerable workload for these banks. They're just flat out saying no. A law didn't change. The governments didn't say no. It's just the banks themselves saying, we really can't take on this work. It's just too much. I fear that as more and more Americans are moving abroad to countries like Spain and Portugal, Italy, France, what have you, I think that there's going to be more negative ramifications, whether or not it's just the day-to-day bureaucracy of things or more negative reactions from the locals. It's something we're going to have to stay tuned on because this exodus really isn't just on paper. It is starting to show its real-world ramifications. I'm experiencing them. Other people moving abroad are experiencing them. It's just a thing now.